Hey guys, it's Adam back with a brand new episode of the Pursuit of Progress podcast. I'm by myself today. Ben's actually on a family vacation. So I'm going to just do a quick, easy episode for you guys that I think still has a ton of value. And I want to start with this. So I'm going to ask you guys a simple question. Who are the five people that you spend the most time with? Because whether you realize it or not, those five people are shaping your life in ways that you probably don't even realize. Your mindset, your habits, your standards, your income, all of it. There's actually a quote from Jim Rohn, who is the mentor to Tony Robbins, that says that you're the average of the five people that you spend the most time with. And the more I've seen this play out in real life, the more that I've realized how true this actually is. So, again, in today's brand new episode of the Pursuit of Progress podcast, I want to break down exactly what this means and how it's quietly impacting your life right now. Let's get into it. So, part one is going to be all about the invisible influence. And the first thing to understand here is that influence is rarely obvious. No one sits you down and says, "Hey, Adam, I'm about to, lower your standards." It doesn't work like that. It's subtle. It shows up in conversations and attitude, in what people tolerate within their lives. And over time, you start to normalize this. So, if you're constantly around people who complain, maybe you'll start to complain more. If you're around people who always are avoiding any type of risk, well, you're probably going to start playing it a little bit more safe. And if you're around people who just don't take care of their health, that probably is going to start to feel normal to you after a while as well. So the opposite is also true. And this is the exciting part, you guys. If you're around people who are disciplined, who take action, who hold themselves to a higher standard, you naturally start to rise to that level as well. Not because you're trying to, but because it becomes your environment. And your environment is incredibly powerful. So I want to talk now a little bit more about how it affects you more than you think. And this is something that I've noticed in my own personal life, and I think you guys will too, once you just start to be a little bit more aware of this. And the idea here goes way beyond just mindset. It really does impact your real measurable outcomes in your life. So again, your income, your career growth, your health, even your confidence, because your circle influences what you believe is possible. So if no one around you owns a home, buying a home is probably going to feel completely out of reach. If nobody around you is maybe investing, well, you might not even think about that as something to do. If nobody around you is building something, you might stay stuck longer than you should. So what I'm trying to get across here is when you start surrounding yourself with people who are doing things, it changes your perspective. It expands what you believe is possible for your own life. And that shift alone can completely change your trajectory. So I want to give you guys a simple reality check here. It's powerful and it's simple, and that's the best part. But it's really a good exercise just to maybe work on over this next week. And if you guys do, I'd love to hear how it goes. So shoot me a DM on social media and let me know what you think after doing this. So what I want, excuse me, what I want you guys to do here is just think about the five people that you spend the most time around and ask yourself these questions. Are they pushing you forward or are they holding you in place? Do they challenge you or are they just kind of keeping things really comfortable? Do they talk about growth, mindset, being bigger and better than you are today? Or are they just talking about problems? This isn't about judging people, it's about awareness. Because once you become aware of your environment, you can start to make these intentional changes. And sometimes that doesn't mean cutting people completely out either, you guys. It just means that being more intentional about how much time and influence they have in your life. This is something that's really tough, especially if it's a family member, somebody that's really close to you, but still giving you a lot of that negative energy, criticism, just belittling you a little bit, or maybe just feeling like you don't have the capacity to take on more because of their limiting beliefs. So it's really important just to understand that, the five people that you spend the most time with, just because they might not be the best suited for certain things that we're talking about here, they can still be part of your life. You just have to be more intentional about what kind of energy you consume from them when you are around them. So I want to talk also though about just how you don't necessarily have to be physically around them. That's what's so great about this environment that we're in today. A lot of pros and a lot of cons when it comes to social media, digital age that we're in right now with AI and just everything being just a finger click away from connection. We can connect with anybody now in the world in a matter of seconds. And there is some really good news when it comes to that when I'm talking about this sphere of influence. So, the five people don't have to all be physically, in the same zip code as you to spend time with them. These can be people that you listen to on podcasts. Maybe I could eventually be one of these five people for you. It also could be for books. Any books that you read, those people can be part of your five. Any of the other content that you're consuming, maybe on YouTube. Mentors that you learn from indirectly can also be part of this five massive, just this A team of players that you're trying to surround yourself with. And Jim Rohn talked a lot about this. He's also something that Tony Robbins really built his whole career around, and that's how you can choose your influences. You can choose what kind of positive, or again, for that matter, negative influence you let into your head. You don't currently have people in your circle who are maybe where you want to be. That's okay too, because you can borrow the mindset from other people like Tony Robbins or just anybody that you really connect with. So through their content, their teachings, their experiences, and over time, that's going to start to shift about how you also think and act. So really, really important just to understand that if you don't have people like this in your life, you can still find them. You just maybe have to do it digitally. Okay. So now I want to talk for one more minute here about raising your standards, because at the end of the day, this concept comes down just to one very simple thing, and that is standards. Your environment helps set your standards, what you tolerate, what you expect, what you believe you're capable of. So if you don't want to have any sort of change, well, you're not going to have any unless you're intentional about this. You have to be willing to raise your standards first. And one of the fastest ways, in my opinion, to do that is just by upgrading your environment. So spending time around people who, again, take action. They think bigger. They hold themselves accountable. They push you to do the same. Because over time, you won't just be around those people. You're going to start to become one of them. So take a minute today or sometime this week, really think about that inner circle that you currently have, because it is, whether you realize it or not, shaping your future. And if you found this helpful, make sure you guys check out all of our other episodes of the Pursuit of Progress podcast. We have a lot of other really good, valuable content, kind of like this one, where it's just short and sweet, but just helping share some of the tactics, some of the tools, some of the strategies that both Ben and myself are using to also help pursue progress and just get a little bit better every single day. So if you guys are somebody who's thinking about making a move to Denver, I'd also love to connect with you on that. Make sure you check us out on the Pursuit of Progress, again, on YouTube, as well as Spotify, Apple Music, and all other major podcast platforms. And you guys, until next week, hope you have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to seeing you guys on a brand new episode next week on the Pursuit of Progress podcast. I'll catch you guys then.